At the beginning, everything was white. And then, in God's deepest dream, there was a spark of fertility. Pachamama was birthed in time and space. And the earth school, our home, was created. And the fertility goddess Pachamama opened her arms for our place to learn our lessons.
Hey, hey!
Welcome, Spiritual Mag. I'm Sam Bell, and today we are going to explore memory. Yes, memory. Now try to remember this while we're going through this. Use your memory. Not memories, memory. That's right. Somewhere in here, probably between your ears, probably. It's probably somewhere between your ears. So this will not get technical. I'll explain it simply. Let's see, where would I start? 1959, I'm in the main library, San Jose, California. 10 years old, and I am just into hunting. Duck hunting, pheasant hunting, rabbit hunting, pig hunting, deer hunting, whatever it is. My father, Joe Bell, he's a hunter. And 10, I would probably, I'd be doing altar boy duties like 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It's awful. Got bad knees as a result. Anyway, so Mom, Mary Bell, was probably pregnant with my brother, Matthew. We had 7 kids. I was the oldest boy. And so I'd go to the library in the evening, and she'd go in, and she's an avid reader, so she'd bring me in the car, and I'd go to H for hunting. And I'd just basically get these books that were written about people in Africa hunting lions, and elephants charging hunters, and bears attacking hunters, and books, not necessarily magazines. And they're all kind of worn, and no real pictures, really. There was some hunting pictures from archery, and some from, the East Coast where people were shooting in the snow or something. So, but there weren't that many books. It was like maybe, one rack down near the bottom that I could get to. So I'm standing looking around, and I see this book, Hypnosis. What the hell is hypnosis? That is, sounds like a doctor book. So I could check it out. I checked it out. It was a big, thick book. So I read the hypnosis book, and I'm like, what? You're kidding. I'm like, impossible. How can that be? So at 10 years old, my definition of memory was I was just starting to develop something about something, but I didn't know exactly what. Okay. I've always been curious about that. So all the way through high school and university, I was interested in memory and ended up being a licensed speech and language pathologist and an audiometrist. Now retired, was licensed in California 42 years. Get to experience a lot of people with memory challenges and consciousness challenges synchronistically at the same time, sometimes separate. So now it's 2023. I'm retired. I'm in Lima, Peru, Miraflores, and I basically provide service to help people connect with their guardian angel so they can learn their lessons with the least amount of pain. It's kind of cool. And that involves memory and consciousness. Believe me, it does. You have to kind of know what memory is to think about it. Most people don't really think about memory. Let's just think about what it is. It's something goes into your head. It could be through your eyes, it could be through your ears, it could be through your touch, it could be from the feedback of muscles and ligaments inside your body. It could be from feeling the pressure on the inside of your, down here below your vocal cords, where you can feel the air pushing and making your voice go boom, making sounds. So every time you've ever said mama, you have the memory of the sensation of that. Now, that doesn't mean you're experiencing that sensation. It doesn't mean you're experiencing that sensation. It means you have the memory of the experience. So for example, I just made a sound about half a second, quarter second. So at the time, it stimulated your ears, it went to your brain, you heard it. It was live, but now you can still recall that sound, but you're not hearing it. You know what I mean? That's your auditory memory. So right now I'm stringing a bunch of sounds together and they stop. Now, if you think about those sounds, you had to remember those sounds to attach them to a concept. That includes your auditory memory, which means you're tuning out the background sounds to tune in on the speech sounds that are attached to the concepts, even when your background sounds are louder. Your auditory system, your consciousness, addresses tuning out the unwanted sounds and tuning in on the specific frequencies that you want and need to listen to automatically, and remember them. So that's the memory that you've been using since, day one. Hello. You've been using, well, let me give you a quick, it's embedded in you, but you don't know it. It's embedded in you. An example is, you're born, okay? Now, before you were born, you might have stuck your thumb in your mouth, but probably not, but sometimes you never know. So you never nursed on your mother on her breast till you came out of your mother, okay? So the motion that you did with your lips to attach to mommy and make the milk come out, that was not learned. That was something that came with the DNA that you have. Okay, it's not a learned behavior. Okay. Okay. So when your mouth started doing that and getting the milk out, you were strengthening those muscles and you were feeling those muscles. And you were getting rewarded because you were hungry. So you're feeling the muscles, you're getting rewarded. And you're acquiring information about the outside world that's out there. There's this breast, and then on the other side of this breast are these, there's people smiling at you. There's one lady that's there all the time. Mom. Okay. So you look in different language, you got madre, mama. Usually that mama is a word that is used for mother. That's because those are the muscles that you first really learned to tune in on when you're building that first concept. Hello? Okay? The stuff's going in, you're making your mouth do this stuff, they get attached. Okay? And you hear the sounds there. So your memory is being inputted, stimuli is being inputted into your head. And by your willpower, your ability to focus and your unconditional love, you're focusing on. Okay? Automatically, since you were born. Hello? You don't even know you're doing it 24/7. Even when you're asleep, you're tuning in and tuning out. Okay, so I've kind of opened up now, went from 59 to 2023, and I'm a conscious channel. I work with my guardian angel Daisy. So now we're talking about memory. Now we're talking about consciousness. Well, where do these things ever meet? I mean, what's going on? Is the memory in my head? Is the memory in your head? It went in your head with the sounds and stuff, but is that where it's stored, or is it stored somewhere else? Like a non-local consciousness that's out there. Now, this is an example I'm going to share. This actually happened. Got a document from Frank. And long story short, I provided guidance and advice to him for spiritual matters on 2 different occasions over a period of about 5 or 6 years. And I hadn't communicated with him since. He's a different location. He's in North America. So he contacted me and asked if I could answer a question, or could I get some help with it? Give him some help. I said, yeah, of course. Yeah, he's my friend. When you channel someone's angel, there's some kind of bond there. I'm not kidding. It's some powerful bond. So what he was saying was, they have a son. The son is beautiful. He and his wife would like the son to have a brother or a sister, and they haven't been successful. So they went and had I forget the word. It's 3 words. It's 3 words. It'll come to me. But they went and had what's the word? In vitro fertilization. IVF? Yeah, in vitro fertilization. Yes, IVF. She had 1, it failed. She had 2, it failed. So they had a 3rd one. Okay, so now he's contacting Sam. They're like, at the edge of a cliff hanging on. Like, I don't know what's going on now. And so it's a heavy question, man. That she's already pregnant. Okay, and he wants to know, are they going to have a successful, what's going to happen to be successful? So Joe Sam tried to help Frank. Yeah, I'll help. Like, yeah, well, I'll ask Daisy. So it's kind of heavy because you don't want to give somebody some really bad news, and I need to be independent as I'm communicating, receiving information from Daisy, not be biased. And I love him, and I love his family, his extended family. And so I might not want to be objective enough to receive information that was hurtful. So, but I said yes. But I got to be brave, He's brave enough to ask. So I asked Daisy, and that's my guardian angel. I meditated and asked her, is Frank's wife going to be successful with this pregnancy? And the answer was no. I write down no. I write the question, I write the time, the date, the conditions. I don't write the air temperature, but usually I get up. For this one, I got up at, like 1 a.m. and took a shower, meditated, sat down and did this probably like, 2:40 a.m. So the first question, first I asked, do I have permission to inquire about this to Daisy? Daisy said yes. I'm like, okay, that's good. I'm asked the question, my procedure, nobody else there. But I have the paperwork. And then the second was, is she going to be successful? This pregnancy answer was no. I'm like, oh, shit. It was like, it was horrible. 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 I had a son who passed. He was born like 10 days. Passed in my arms. So, and this guy's a really good guy. Frank, good guy. So I'm like, no. So I thought, well, let me ask, will they have a baby later? So I asked, will they get pregnant and have successful pregnancy? Yes. Wow, far out. Now I'm kind of going into territory he didn't ask me to go into, but I'm going in there right now. So I asked, I didn't ask if it was a boy or girl. I asked, when will the birth occurred? And it gave me the month and the year. Okay. Pretty cool. The part of the month and the year. Now that was like more than a year in advance of where we were then. Okay. So it was in the future by more than a year. Okay. So I take pictures of the documents and I send it to him. And he says, thanks. And just broke his heart. Broke his heart. Well, they lost that third in vitro fertilization was incomplete. And so they had already utilized the funds that were available, and they were kind of didn't know what to do. Later, they thought maybe, should we try again? Okay. So they tried again and they were successful. And that's when he remembered the paper that I had sent him, because when I sent him the paper, it said, is the baby they're going to have a baby? And it was like, no. He said he just kind of lost it at that point. And when he looked at the next sentence, they're going to have on this date, it didn't even go in his head. He was like, I don't, we're not going to be successful. So now, where did that information come from? Whose memory? Do you understand what happened there? I told him that her current pregnancy wasn't going to go, but she was going to get pregnant and have a healthy baby in the following date in the portion of the month, same year in the month, part of the month, and they did. And I'm so attached to this baby, I almost started crying. I mean, I did cry when I was crying my eyes out. I was stressed out the whole time. It was like I was carrying bricks on my shoulders, like, what's going to happen? She's pregnant. What's going to happen? So, 1996, I was a minister in training. That's not a minister, it's a minister in training. And she described it as a minister getting ready to go to a fight. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. And she trained me as a hypnotist and certified me as a hypnotist and gave me some training as a cell memory therapist. Okay. So hypnosis, speech and language pathology, neuroscience, non-local consciousness. Non-local consciousness. Now I'm going to quote here just to put some space on this, better space. There's Paul Persall, his book. Paul Persall, I can't see the book, I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. It's over here. Where's the singing? It's weird. Sorry. The Heart's Code, Paul Persall. The Heart's Code. Now, this book was recommended by Bashar, which is pretty cool. And he has a definition of cellular memory, and I'm just going to lift this for educational purposes and also endorse Bashar, of course. And it's in the back, they have, definition of his vocabulary. Cellular memory, and this is Paul Persall, PhD. And he defines cellular memory, the theory that each of the 75 trillion cells in the body have various levels of stored information left there by the heart's conduction of L energy. L stands for love energy. L energy, which can be retrieved by focusing less on the brain and more on the heart. The impact of cellular memory is illustrated by recall of heart transplant recipients of various forms of their donors' memories. Since information is a form of energy and, like matter, energy cannot be destroyed, cellular memories are infinite. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Now, what exactly means fitting in with what happened with Frank and the baby is, I'm just trying to share that we've come a long way. And in 2023, scientists know that there is what's called a non-local consciousness. There's your consciousness, and then there's your partition and your input and reception of the non-local consciousness. So at the moment, it's pretty exciting. Schumann resonance is doing funny stuff. Earth's gravitational fields are doing funny stuff. The magma beneath the soil under the volcanoes is doing funny stuff. It's all funny. So consciousness is changing. Consciousness is changing. And you're either changing or you're not changing. So if you're changing, you're probably going with the flow and you're elevating your consciousness and you're starting to recognize that there's an inner you and an outer you, and that you're a component in society and we're all one. We're all one. So what's happening is everyone is kind of moving up a bit, and the resonances, the vibrations, the signature frequencies that we're expressing are getting more similar on some levels. Okay. So some individuals are actually reaching up and communicating with loving off-planet beings. Okay. Angels. Possibly deities. It's very cool. It's very cool. And as all of the collective consciousness elevates, everybody elevates. Some people elevate a lot. Some people elevate really slowly. They're kind of, the boat's sinking, but they're still going up a little. Everything goes up, or you don't survive. You don't survive. Stress is not good. Okay, think about it. So the way it works is, in conclusion, the way it works is you need to understand your mind has nothing but itself to know itself. Okay? So as the consciousness that you're bathed in elevates, we all become more community. Telepathic skills escalate. Non-local awareness explodes. Your knowledge about who you are and what you are and why you're here is activating. And the more it activates, the more protected you will be from an ethically used AI and digital to manipulate the thought forms and the memories that you hold, to build your matrix in. Those memories that are out there, not the things that are happening at the time, those are real things at the time, but the memories that are built up, that turn into generalities of memories that are built up on the auditory pathway, the visual pathway, the tactile pathway, the olfactory pathway. Things get slotted into thought forms that are attached to certain sounds. And the generalizations can be resulting with disharmony. Okay? It's difficult to comprehend this, but the more you focus on your heart chakra, the better your connection will be to your own consciousness. And that definitely opens up the pathway for enhanced awareness of your own inner talents as you're a spark of the divine. And as Elena says, love is always the key. Okay, whether you're on the first step or on the 10th step, love is always the key. You and all your loved ones are always in my prayers.